Gabrielle Bonheur Chanel was born in 1883. She was not born into a rich family. Her life started in a small town in France. Her mother passed away when she was very young. Her father could not take care of all his children. He sent Gabrielle to an orphanage. She was only 12 years old. The orphanage was a strict place. The nuns there taught the girls how to sew. This skill would change Gabrielle's life forever. She learned to make strong and simple stitches. She spent many hours sewing. This was not always fun for a young girl, but she became very good at it. When she turned 18, she had to leave the orphanage. She moved to a boarding house for girls. She continued to sew. She also started to work for a local tailor. She was not just making clothes anymore. She was learning about fashion. She saw what wealthy women wore. Their clothes were very complicated. They had many layers, laces, and corsets. Corsets were tight and uncomfortable. Gabrielle thought there must be a better way. At this time, she also started singing in a cafe. She sang simple songs. It was here that people started calling her Coco. No one is sure why. Perhaps it was from a song she sang. The name Coco stayed with her for the rest of her life. A young man named Etienne Balsan saw her sing. He came from a rich family. He was charmed by Coco. He helped her leave her sewing job. She went to live with him in his beautiful house. She entered a world of luxury and parties. But she was not happy. She did not like being dependent on a man. She wanted to make her own money. She wanted to be her own person. She started making hats. She was tired of the big, heavy hats that were in fashion. They had many feathers and flowers. They were expensive and silly, she thought. So, she began to create simple, elegant hats. She used her skills from the orphanage. Her hats were different. They were not overly decorated. They were chic and modern. Her hats became popular with Etienne's friends. These were wealthy and fashionable women. They loved her new style. Soon, she had enough money to open her own shop. In 1910, she opened her first hat shop in Paris. She called it Chanel Modes. It was a small start, but it was her dream. The shop was a success. A year later, she opened another shop. This time, she did not just sell hats. She started selling clothes too. This was a big step. Her clothes were revolutionary. At that time, women's fashion was not practical. Dresses were long and touched the ground. They were not good for moving freely. Coco wanted to change this. She looked at men's clothes. Men wore comfortable trousers and simple jackets. They could move easily. Why couldn't women? She started using jersey fabric. This was a cheap material. It was usually used for men's underwear. But Coco saw its potential. It was soft and comfortable. It draped beautifully on the body. She made simple dresses from jersey. People were shocked at first. But soon, they saw the beauty in her designs. Her style was about simplicity and comfort. She believed that luxury should be comfortable. Otherwise, it is not luxury. She introduced trousers for women. This was a very bold move. People thought it was scandalous, but many women loved it. They felt free and modern in Chanel's clothes. World War I began in 1914. This was a difficult time for everyone, but it helped Coco's business. Women had to work while men were fighting. They needed practical clothes. Chanel's simple and comfortable designs were perfect. Her business grew very fast. After the war, she became even more famous. The 1920s were a time of change. Women were getting more freedom. They could vote in some countries. They cut their hair short. They danced to new music. This was the flapper era. Coco Chanel was the symbol of this new woman. She created the little black dress. Before this, black was only for funerals. It was not a color for fashion. But Coco changed that. She made a simple, short black dress. It was elegant. It could be worn for many occasions. It was affordable for many women. A famous magazine called it the Chanel Ford. The little black dress is still famous today. Another one of her famous creations was Chanel No. 5. This was her first perfume. At that time, perfumes usually smelled like a single flower, like rose or jasmine. Coco wanted something different. She worked with a perfume maker. Together, they created a complex scent. It had over 80 ingredients. It was the first abstract perfume. You could not name just one flower. It was a blend. The bottle was also simple and elegant. It looked like a man's whiskey bottle. It was not fancy. Chanel No. 5 became a huge success. It is still one of the most famous perfumes in the world. Coco Chanel was now a very successful businesswoman. She was rich and famous. She had a strong personality. She was independent and confident. She had famous friends from art and literature. She had love affairs with powerful men. But she never married. She said, "I never wanted to weigh more heavily on a man than a bird." She valued her freedom above all else. Her fashion empire continued to grow. She opened a shop in the famous Rue Cambon in Paris. She created her signature suit. It was a collarless jacket with a braid trim. It had a fitted skirt. It was elegant and comfortable. It was perfect for the modern woman. Famous women wore her clothes, from Hollywood stars to royalty. Then, World War II began in 1939. This was a dark time for Coco. She made a big mistake. She had a love affair with a German officer. France was at war with Germany. When the war ended, this was seen as treason. People were very angry with her. She was questioned by the authorities. She was not put in jail, but her reputation was ruined. People in France could not forgive her. She was 60 years old. She decided to leave the fashion world. She closed her shops. She moved to Switzerland. She lived there in exile for many years. People thought her story was over. But Coco Chanel was not a person who gave up easily. In 1954, she was 71 years old. She decided to make a comeback. The fashion world was different. A new designer, Christian Dior, was very popular. His new look was the opposite of Chanel's style. It had tiny waists and very full skirts. It brought back the corset. Coco hated it. She thought it was a step backward for women. She wanted to show the world that her style was still relevant. She reopened her Paris salon. The French press was very critical. They did not welcome her back. They had not forgotten the war. But America loved her. An American magazine praised her new collection. American women understood her style. They loved the simple, chic suits and dresses. Once again, Coco Chanel became a success. She worked until the end of her life. Every day, she went to her studio on Rue Cambon. She created beautiful clothes. She was a living legend. She died in 1971 at the age of 87. Coco Chanel's legacy is enormous. She was not just a designer. She was a revolutionary. She changed the way women dress. She freed them from uncomfortable clothes. She gave them clothes that were both elegant and practical. She created a style that is timeless. A Chanel suit never goes out of fashion. A little black dress is always stylish. Her famous quote is, "Fashion fades, only style remains the same." She also showed the world something important. A woman could build a global business from nothing. She started as a poor orphan girl. Through hard work and talent, she became famous. Through courage, she changed fashion forever. Her story is a story of strength. It is a story of creativity. It is the story of the pursuit of freedom. She taught women to be themselves. She taught them to be comfortable. She taught them to be chic. She once said, "The most courageous act is still to think for yourself." Aloud. And that is exactly what she did her whole life.